Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Filecoin. So, if you guys have been reading the articles lately, if you've been, keeping up with some crypto news, then you know that Filecoin is now being targeted by the SEC. Don't worry, we will address it. We are going to actually talk about it this entire video. And we are going to talk about why it is actually bullish. I mentioned it over on Twitter on why this is actually bullish. I will address a few things around this. So as we look at the price chart for Filecoin this year, we know that it was starting to break out a little bit in February. Excuse me. We did see a sell-off. It was kind of building out a floor, and then just recently it did kind of fall through that floor. And the news of the SEC didn't really show too much negative price impact, but we did drop about 50 some cents from it. So there was a little bit of an impact there, but not too much. But as we do look at what's happening around Filecoin, we know what Filecoin's all about. This is decentralized storage for the people. I think that anything decentralized right now is in the targets of the SEC. And I will talk about why here in a second. I will talk about why I think that this is bullish. But first, let's actually address a few things. So we do see over here from John E. Deaton, every coin is in danger of the security label by the SEC. Grayscale needs to fight it, as it appears they are. Filecoin price drops after SEC asked Grayscale to withdraw Filecoin trust application. And at this point, anything can be targeted. It doesn't really matter what it is. It doesn't matter what cryptocurrency you're holding. Even even Ethereum was getting a little slack there from the SEC. So as we look at what's happening around the space, it's definitely concerning. I don't think that Filecoin is going to be dead in the water or anything like that. We do see that, we are seeing Grayscale fight back against them, which I think is very beneficial. I think that this is actually a good sign. Grayscale is a giant. They have been fighting the SEC for a while, even around those ETFs. And as we do look at this post over here, we have a little bit of an idea on what Grayscale is saying. So we do see Grayscale no doubt previously obtained advice from high-paid securities lawyers that Filecoin was not a security before filing the registration statement, but just because there is so much clarity, they formed a different view that the SEC did. And here we have Grayscale does not believe that Filecoin is a security under the federal securities laws and intends to respond promptly to the SEC staff with an explanation of the legal basis for Grayscale's position. What do you see down here from Eleanor Tourette? New. Grayscale says the SEC Gov has asked it to withdraw an application to launch a Filecoin trust product on the grounds that it might meet the definition of an investment company and that Filecoin meets the definition of a security. Interesting that the SEC investigated Filecoin 5 years ago and did not say anything about the product potentially being an unregistered security. This sounds like a very interesting story. Remember, right? This is the same thing that happened with XRP. Ripple for years was meeting with the SEC, telling them what they were doing with XRP, and all of a sudden, years later, boom, lawsuit. So as we do look at what's happening around the SEC, does anybody really take them seriously at this point? We've seen Gary Gensler, we've seen the SEC continuously get, flamed publicly by congressmen. And there's been a major battle going on within the US. But to me personally, as we look at the SEC, their intent is very clear. They are going after anything DeFi. They are going after anything that is decentralized. And sorry, my coin market cap just kind of broke on me. But they are going after anything that is in the DeFi section. Going all the way over here, we do see SEC announces settlement with Kraken. Kraken agrees to stop offering staking as a service, of course, within the US. Kraken will pay $30 million fine. None of the money will go to restitution because there aren't any actual victims. The SEC war on crypto just getting started. And it only applies to the US accounts. Same with Uphold, right? Uphold has stopped staking as a service for all US-based customers. I'm pretty sure there's other exchanges. I know that Coinbase did get the lending offering shut down going all the way back to 2021. We are seeing a big fight here from the SEC on DeFi. Staking as a service is crucial for a lot of individuals. I don't know if you guys knew this, but staking as a service, you can earn up to 20+% APY on your assets. Go to a bank, you were not even getting close to 5%, for an example. So as we do look at why they're targeting DeFi and staking as a service and things like that, it's very clear to me. They were trying to protect the banks because, in my opinion, if individuals started to learn about how much money they could make off of staking in crypto, and I mean secure staking that isn't, 1,000+% APY, that's extremely unsustainable, then the banks will lose a lot of dominance. But also, it's right on par with why Library was targeted. Library is decentralized publishing. Like this, to me, like Library was killing the game before they got targeted by the SEC. They were everywhere and they were a big company. And then all of a sudden, the SEC came in and ruined the party. The same way XRP was being utilized to fight back against the traditional payment sector. When you go after the big banks, when you go after payments and things like that, well, guess what? You put a target on your back. All of these companies do that by going after select markets. And you might be questioning, like, Filecoin wasn't going after any, major market, was it? Well, the storage market is very large. And when you talk about decentralized storage, like, why wouldn't individuals want to store their, information or whatever it is in a decentralized way where a centralized company has their hand in it, right? Like, why wouldn't you go the decentralized route? I even said it recently, like, we have these big corporations selling our data, selling our information. If there was decentralized, processes, like say for so decentralized social media, why wouldn't people utilize it? It's the same way that, Filecoin is now being targeted because, any of these assets could essentially be targeted by the SEC because they left the door open. They didn't give us any clarity. They didn't give us any transparency at all. But to me, I think that this is also a fight back against decentralization. But the SEC won't tell you that. In fact, the SEC tells you the opposite. SEC's Gensler says crypto markets are generally non-compliant and based on false narrative of decentralization. This is the joke of an agency that is here in the US targeting all of these major companies and, targeting even exchanges, but they are telling you that it's because of investment protection. They're here trying to protect investors. No, they're not. You don't protect investors by shutting down the exchanges that individuals utilize on a day-to-day basis for on and off ramps to and from crypto. And also, US government to crack down on crypto exchanges. Again, this was another big thing going all the way back to May 15th. And this was a huge sign of what's actually happening, right? They're shutting down exchanges and trying to shut down exchanges to give all the power and the money itself combined, right? Because exchanges do tie up a lot of money in fees. And now we are seeing the US government want to extract those fees. They want to be the ones that are playing the big game. They want, Wall Street to be the ones in charge. Why do you think crypto custody is a big thing right now around, the NASDAQ and BNY Mellon and Fidelity and JP Morgan? And also, we do see over here, in the years it may take the SEC to decide simply to start the process of rulemaking, MiCA will have gone into force alongside other global regulatory frameworks. It's exactly why the work being done by, again, the congressman is so important. Now, again, the good thing about this is that outside of the US, yes, regulations are moving extremely fast, and we are also seeing a lot of the crypto products that are being targeted by the SEC expanding and doing very well outside of the US. Ripple as a company has been doing very well outside of the US. XRP has been doing very well as well. To me personally, I don't look at anything that the SEC says or does as a big negative impact on these assets. And in fact, I actually share with you guys LCX. So going back to July 21st, 2022, we've seen SEC list 9 crypto tokens as securities following Coinbase and insider trading charges. Now, LCX, we do see this was from July of 2022. So it was like right around this time here. Right there. And, from this point, yes, we did see some negative impact in the market. This is due to FTX collapsing. So right here's FTX. Like this whole slide down is FTX all the way until December, where most altcoins kind of bottomed. And then what we seen was a significant rise in price. Now, off of the bottom down here, it's a lot more, but I'm going off of the July prices. Even though the SEC targeted LCX, we did still see a 194% rise from that price. If you're going off the exact bottom down here, LCX was actually a big winner recently. It did go up about 5.5x. And I know that to some people that's not significant, but if you did have, a lot of money tied up in LCX during this time, 5.5x is pretty significant in that short amount of time. I mean, this was roughly about 38 days. So that's pretty quick in terms of a 5.5x. Now, yes, we are starting to see a little bit of a slide down, but this is due to the overall market. As we look at Filecoin itself, I have been buying anything within the $3.60 zone to about $5.80 some cents. And the reason why is because look at where we are trading at compared to all the way back here in 2019 and 2020, and even in, well, actually, no, just 2020. I thought that we had a little bit of price action in 2021, but we didn't. And to me personally, I still think that Filecoin is going to be very, very successful because it's very simple, right? Individuals want to have decentralized storage. Now, I do think that Filecoin could possibly come back down and test some levels down here at about like $3.20 some cents, which I think is also a very significant area. And if it does retest some of these lows back here, you can see where a lot of the demand is. We might even make a new low. We might have this this level down here at $2.27 be targeted. And if that's the case, that's where I'm loading up extremely heavy, but I have been accumulating. I've been accumulating anywhere within this range. I was even accumulating before we started to fall in December, started to accumulate quite a bit in January as well. I do think that long term, we will bounce back in a strong way. I could actually see Filecoin going back to its all-time highs. I know that the overall supply has changed since then, but I still think that Filecoin is going to do very well. The same way that all of these assets that the SEC seems to blindly target have done very well in the past. And we already know that Filecoin has had discussions and meetings with the SEC many times in the past. And even here, like 5 years ago, they didn't say anything about the product potentially being an unregistered security. So if we look at this, there's no fair notice here. One, there's no transparency here. There's no clarity. I don't think that the SEC and what they are saying here matters at all. And I do think that anything the SEC does, do the opposite of, because I think that it's so bullish when they do go after these assets the same way LCX was bullish, the same way XRP was bullish. I don't care what the SEC is doing. I don't care what the SEC is saying. I go against them because I do think that we are on the right side of history here. I think that crypto itself and decentralization is going to continue to be a major trend that is crucial for individuals. And I think that's going to be very, very successful in the long term. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.